This is French civil servant Jean Monnet, one of the geniuses behind European unity. This dude was the brains behind the Schuman Plan, which aimed to bring together the coal and steel production of France and Germany under one umbrella. Talk about big dreams, right? Monnet's idea was a total game changer. It gave birth to the European coal and steel community, which later paved the way for the European Union, or the EU. Damn, we're talking about a concept so powerful, it transformed the landscape of Europe. But guess what? Fast forward more than 6 decades and Monnet's blueprint is facing some serious dodgy moments. The European institution, once a lifeline for the continent, now face a future as uncertain as a wrecked water pipe with water slowly leaking, leaving everyone scratching their heads and wondering what's next. In this video, we're diving into the fascinating historical progress and amazing benefits of the EU. But our main focus would be to shed light on why the EU might be sleepwalking into a bigger crisis, especially with the Russian invasion of Ukraine and other pressing issues on the horizon. But before moving forward, we would like you to subscribe to our channel to support our work. Imagine a world where people and goods could go from one country to another without any problems at the borders. It's like when you and your friends can easily visit each other's houses and play together. In this world, different countries also work together and have similar goals. They want to be friends, trade with each other, and help each other out. For example, imagine a farmer in France can easily sell his delicious cheese to people in Germany, and a student from Spain can study in Italy without any issues. It's like everyone is on the same team, working towards common goals, both economically and politically. Cool, isn't it? It's like having a big group of friends from different countries who all want the same things. That's what some people call the European Union, or the EU. It's all about countries working together for a common good. But back in the day, cooperation in Europe was hard to come by. After the devastating world wars, the European economy was struggling and stuck at a standstill. But then, enter our guys, Jean Monnet and Robert Schuman, along with a bunch of other forward-thinking folks. They had this amazing idea of unity where countries would work together and share their resources, like coal and steel. It was so powerful that other European countries like Belgium, Luxembourg, and more totally agreed with it. It was like everyone coming together to build something bigger and better for the future. After the initial idea of the coal and steel community, the European countries continued to work together and signed treaties, which are like special agreements, to strengthen their unity. These treaties helped them create a common market where people and goods could move freely across borders, making trade and travel much easier. In 1993, when the European Union was officially established as per the Maastricht Treaty, it was like a new chapter in the European story. Since then, more countries have joined the EU, making it a big family of 27 countries working together. But that's not all. The EU even introduced a single currency called the euro in 1999, which is used by 19 out of the 27 countries today. Moreover, the EU's success stories have been ever present. It has created one of the largest single markets in the world, fueled by the free movement of goods. According to the IMF, the GDP of the European Union was $16.5 trillion in 2016, representing a significant 22.8% of the world's total. That was a booming time for the bloc, as it was going all guns blazing. But you see, the European Union has had its fair share of challenges in the past, but they were never seen as major concerns. However, when the Syrian refugee crisis and Brexit happened, it really shook things up and exposed some serious issues with the idea of a single bloc. The Syrian refugee crisis put the EU's commitment to shared and equal prosperity to the test, as refugees fleeing conflict in Syria sought refuge in Europe. Many refugees found themselves stranded at the Greece border, as other EU member states halted their travel, citing concerns over security and the lack of a coordinated approach to manage the crisis. This exposed the limitations of the EU's ability to address a humanitarian crisis effectively and highlighted the challenges of achieving unity and solidarity among member states in responding to such complex situations. On the other hand, the UK's concerns over sovereignty, terrorism, and its financial contributions to the EU budget also exposed issues within the EU. The UK's decision to leave the EU in the Brexit referendum revealed that not all member states were equally satisfied with the level of control they had over their own sovereignty and policy decisions. Concerns about terrorism and security, as well as the financial burden of contributing to the EU budget, were significant factors that influenced the UK's decision to leave the EU. See, Germany and UK were the major contributors to the EU budget, but in return, getting a minimum. Conversely, Poland, Luxembourg, and other smaller EU countries with little financial contributions were enjoying fully. Such deeper issues combined with security concerns exposed the narrative of supranationality. There were even calls for Frexit and Grexit after Brexit. But for now, only Britain has exited from the much-cherished bloc. But if you seriously analyze, if the EU fails to get things in order and the rising populist movement in Europe, it might crumble and other member countries might take the exit route. Speaking of crumbling, the next big challenge to the EU after Brexit has been the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The war has widened the split in the consensus of the EU regarding the matter, particularly among the energy security and trade concerned nations. These countries are forced to tread carefully in their approach towards Russia, refraining from outright condemnation or criticism and avoiding complete isolation, which goes against the general EU consensus on the matter. For instance, in 2021, Russia was the EU's fifth largest trading partner, with goods exchanged worth 258 billion euros or $280 billion, as per the European Commission. The main EU imports from Russia included fuel, wood, iron and steel, and fertilizers. However, since the invasion in 2022, the value of EU imports from Russia has fallen by half to approximately 10 billion euros or $10.85 billion as of last December, according to Eurostat. Despite this decrease, the EU still imported a significant amount of goods from Russia, totaling 171 billion euros or $186 billion from March 2022 until the end of January 2023. When it comes to energy, the EU sanctioned imports of Russian coal and seaborne oil last year, but gas is not covered by these sanctions. However, Moscow has reduced pipeline gas deliveries to Europe since the invasion, resulting in the EU receiving about 40% less Russian gas than in recent years in 2022. On the other hand, liquefied natural gas, or LNG, deliveries from Russia to Europe increased, reaching 22 billion cubic meters in 2022, up from approximately 16 billion cubic meters in 2021. Furthermore, EU imports of Russian fertilizers were worth 2.6 billion euros last year, representing an increase of over 40% from 2022. This indicates that despite the conflict with Russia, the EU's dependence on Russian goods, including energy-related products and raw materials, has not diminished significantly. Such levels of dependence have caused rifts among EU member states. Eastern European countries, including Poland, Romania, and Estonia, believe that Russia has blackmailed Western Europe because of its energy supplies. It appears the main players, Germany and France, have taken a backseat in tackling the aggressive Russians. Serious times lie ahead. But what if the European Union ceased to exist as we know it today? Well, first of all, it would be a major shakeup in the political and economic landscape of Europe and the world. The EU is a unique and complex entity that plays a crucial role in shaping regional and global policies. Any disruption would shrink global GDP and disrupt supply chains. And let's not forget, many students and tourists are beneficiaries of the Schengen visa. So, a disintegrated EU is in no one's interest. Lastly, a divided European bloc would play into the hands of authoritarian leaders like Russia and Belarus, who could put the security and safety of the continent in jeopardy. Let's hope bureaucrats and politicians in Brussels reform the EU and make it a hub for global development and peace. If you like our content, please subscribe to the channel and do let us know your thoughts on the EU in the comments.